of Montgomery County were being made.
As I reflect,
community events, healing and holding on to hope, one conversation at a time. This is a live event that we will be holding every 2 weeks, and I'm very happy to welcome you to tonight's segment. My name is Athena Morrow. I am a longtime employee of Montgomery County government for Health and Human Services. I manage various programs that assist folks who struggle with mental health and substance abuse issues, who get caught in criminal justice system. And I'm very pleased to be the moderator for today's segment. I want to guide everyone who is attending to the Q&A part of this segment, where you can see the link to this event, and also where you can find this link in the future if you so desire. There will be a calendar on that Montgomery County Mental Health Wellness site with the bi-weekly links. I want to invite everyone for comments, suggestions, and questions through the Q&A, and I will be looking for questions that can be brought up to for tonight's presenters. And I also will be looking for suggestions for future topics toward the end of our session. What we will do today is we're going to invite our speakers who will have an opportunity to speak on tonight's topic for an hour until 7 o'clock. And then at 7 o'clock, we will have a discussion and an opportunity for live Q&A. And with that said, I would like to introduce tonight's speakers. We have Tree of Hope Association presenting today, and we have the two executive directors. First of all, I want to introduce LaTonya Rich. She currently serves as the co-executive director of Tree of Hope Association. She is a volunteer recovery community, which is a volunteer recovery community organization in Montgomery County. She is also the supervisor for the Montgomery County STEER program, which is a 24-hour response team of peer specialists to opioid overdoses. LaTonya is a person in long-term recovery for over 20 years. She's a certified peer recovery specialist and a registered peer supervisor. She moderates and organizes town hall meetings, attempting to connect the providers, peers, and resources in the state and beyond to work together to help those in need. She manages recovery groups in local treatment programs, the supervision of many peers, training of hundreds of peers across the state and beyond. She is also the Southern Peer United leader for the state of Maryland in cooperation with MPAC, overseeing the connecting of the peer community in the southern region of Maryland. LaTonya has served as a board member of Cornerstone Montgomery as a representative for the recovery community, and she's an active participant in the Alcohol and Other Drug Advisory Council, and also the Opioid Intervention Team of Montgomery County. She was this year's recipient of the Unsung Hero Award of the Turk Conference. LaTonya has dedicated her life to service in the recovery community along with her loving husband, Edwin Rich, who is also the co-executive director of Tree of Hope and our second presenter for tonight. So Edwin Rich currently serves as the co-executive director of the Tree of Hope Association, has been a long-standing voting member of the AODAC Council, where he has served as vice chair and also chair of Treatment and Recovery Committee for as many years. He is a founding member of Peer to Peer and has served as vice chair for 4 years. Edwin is also a person in long-term recovery of over 22 years and has spent the last 22 years serving to bring hope to the recovery community through mentorship and support, volunteering to facilitate groups in various facilities in Montgomery County. Ed has volunteered for the last 15 years at the Montgomery County Correctional Facility, where he facilitates groups in the Jail Addiction Services Program. He resides in Montgomery County since 1970. I wanted to welcome both Latanya and Edwin. We're very happy to have you. And with that, I'm going to pass the screen to them.
Thank you, Athena. Thank you. Next slide. Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to cover a lot of topics: peer services, trainings, community organization, social integration, multiple pathways, and we're going to cover STEER, our local opioid response team for Montgomery County. Next slide. Tree of Hope was started in 2013 as an Abbey Road Alumni Association by my husband and I and a group of other people in recovery who were just wanted to help out, and wanted to give back. Since then, we have grown into a peer organization that trains. We do peer mentorship, peer training, social integration programming for people new in recovery. Abbey Road Alumni, the name was too limiting a name for us after a while because we got so much support from the community. So to be more inclusive, we changed our name to Tree of Hope about 3 years ago. Next slide.
Okay. Actually, back to the last slide. Peer groups.
Go back one slide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Peer groups. Yes. I want to say good evening to everyone. We're glad to be here and glad you all are here. But our peer groups, you mentioned that we do peer groups, Tree of Hope. We started out giving all recovery peer groups at the request of the treatment center, Abbey Road Treatment Center. And then since then, we give these groups around the county to other facilities and other groups. And when we do, we in the groups, we introduce multiple pathways of recovery. We inform them about how to get involved in peer or recovery community services, and we answer any question regarding recovery. And also we offer our support. We offer phone numbers and support and make connections so they can move into the community easily from whatever organization or facility they're in. Next slide.
With that volunteer bank, that we developed through our peer trainings, we offer peer support to people coming out of treatment at the request of their case manager or the individual. Through all recovery groups that we conduct at various programs and shelter systems, we inform recoveries that they can request a recovery coach. We assign these recovery coaches from our pool, and they assist the person in need of assistance, in setting goals and removing barriers to those goals using a wellness plan. Recovery coaches also help the individual define a pathway that fits them and connect them to needed resources in the community, such as clothing, housing, workforce development, etc. The recovery coach will also follow these recoveries as long as they need them. Our goal is to connect them to a recovery pathway that they might find a sponsor or some other kind of mentor in their pathway, and that they won't need us anymore. So we really teach them how to fish. Next slide.
Okay, peer support. Okay, what is peer support? Peer support is a professional pathway of people with lived experience. They are formally trained and credentialed by the same state board that certifies counselors. They serve as motivators for people who don't think they can do it. They build trust with their recoveries and become their confidants. Because they are trusted, the truth they speak is heard and accepted. They model what recovery to those who watch, what recovery is to those who watch. They help remove barriers, whether recovery-based or resource-based. They not only advocate for their recovery, they teach their recovery to advocate for themselves. They organize and bring the community together because it takes a village. They build discrepancy to help the recovery self-direct to better decisions. and they raise the standard of what to look for in a friend. This gives the recovery qualifications of who they want in their lives and in their recovery. What a peer is not is clearly distinguished from that of a 12-step sponsor, a treatment counselor, or other professional. This is because the intent of the peer recovery support services is to enhance the recovery process, not duplicating other services in the community.
Next slide. For a long time, we traveled to Baltimore and surrounding counties to get training that we needed for peer certification. So we decided to become trained as trainers and opened up our own training academy. Our academy became previous slide, please. Our academy became so successful that we have trained not only people in Montgomery County, but all over the state of Maryland and surrounding states. We have become accredited CEU providers for the Maryland Addiction and Behavioral Health Professional Certification Board and a mecca for training across the state and surrounding states such as Delaware and Pennsylvania. Next slide.
These are some of the trainings. These are our trainings that we currently give. You can see there CCAR, Recovery Coach Academy training, which is our core training, 30 CEUs. It's usually a 4 or 5 day training. Ethics, which is 16-hour. That's usually a couple of days, 2 days training. Professionalism, 12. Spirituality, 12 CEUs. Recovery coaches in the ED or emergency department or emergency room, 12. Mental health first aid, 8 CEUs. Motivational interviewing, 8 CEUs. Safe talk, 8. Safe talk is suicide prevention, or so that's what, in case you didn't know that, what is. Ethics in co-occurring communities, 3 CEUs. Now, upcoming trainings that we have coming up this year, Choices peer recovery training. It's the same as recovery coach training, but Spanish. So that's 30 hours in Spanish. Self-esteem, unpacking the bag, 7 hours or 7 CEUs. Cultural competence and racial equity, 7 CEUs. And learning how to tell your story, telling your story of recovery, addiction and recovery, 7 CEUs. We are continuously working to develop new trainings as well and to meet the needs of the peers. So there'll be more to come in the upcoming year. Okay, thank you.
Next slide. Mm-hmm. So Bunny talked about certification. Peers become recovery coaches after taking the Recovery Coach Academy class, but the next step will become to become certified. To become a certified peer for the state of Maryland, you must apply through the Maryland Addiction and Behavioral Health Professional Certification Board. The requirements that you need to become certified is that you must be at least 18. The applicants must reside in Maryland at least 51% of the time, and the applicants must self-identify as a person in long-term recovery from the effects of a behavioral health disorder, either mental health or substance abuse, for as long as a period of 2 years. And a high school diploma and a GED is also required. The participant must have obtained 46 hours in domain training, which we'll go over shortly, and they must have 500 experiential hours, meaning that they have to have a job that they've worked as a peer for at least 500 hours, which equals to about 4 months of full-time employment. And they also must obtain 25 hours of supervision from a registered peer supervisor, which we also are. You can obtain those hours through Tree of Hope. Actually, all of those hours can be obtained through Tree of Hope. Next slide.
Okay, supervision. As you can see here, These are the domains across the there in the broad border, the dark border. You have the 4 domains she spoke of: advocacy, ethical responsibility, mentoring and education, and recovery and wellness. Okay, so those are the what we will. The trainings are all in those different areas, different trainings in different areas for certification. That's what certification is based on: advocacy, ethics, and so forth. Below them, our focused area of knowledge peers need to master. If you can see that, peers obtain this knowledge through the trainings. We offer 2-hour supervision groups twice a month, themed on a particular domain, so we can have discussions and learn different aspects of those domains, giving the peers more focused understanding.
Next slide. Community organization is vital to the community, bringing together the community and providers to work together to assist those in need. Next slide. This is our statewide provider town hall. Originally, it was the Montgomery County, the MoCo provider town hall, but it has grown in this popularity that we had to change the name again to the statewide provider town hall for peers. This town hall started as a result of the pandemic. Originally, we met every other week, bringing together providers and peers. This forum allows providers to inform the community on the services that are available, what's their protocol for admission as a direct result of the pandemic, and how peers can engage those services. Attached to this town hall is also a Google Doc that is updated by the providers, which makes it so much easier for the peers to find out what services are available and what are not, and who to inquire to first. So the providers keep this list updated, and it's growing day to day. The last most valuable thing I think that came out of this town hall was our listserv. And this allowed the peers to make requests for services directly to over 60 programs and resources in and around the state. So peers are able to now find beds for recoveries real time without the labor of calling 20 different treatment programs to find a bed. The providers actually come to them. So through one email, they can request a bed for a Medicaid patient, and it will go out to 60 or so providers, and whoever has services available for that demographic will respond to the email, and it cuts admissions time in half. So that's been a really great asset, especially during this pandemic, to allow peers to not have to do any guesswork and possibly lose a person that they already have connected to. Next slide. The other town hall that we do is the Southern Region Town Hall. We were asked by Impact of Baltimore to help organize peers across the state. We were appointed the Southern Region leaders. So our area covers Montgomery County, Prince George's, Charles, Calvert, and St. Mary's counties. And we've been tasked to organize the peer community for these counties. And the purpose is to bring the peers together to identify barriers to recovery in their community. We brainstorm on solutions to remove those barriers and form committees to work together to help their own community as well as others. These town halls gives us a broader perspective on how other communities have solved these issues and enable more progressive areas to assist the areas that still need to grow. Next slide.
Yes, social integration. As a person in long-term recovery, I could not have stayed clean without learning how to have clean fun. So next slide, please. So we address that issue by having events, and a big part of recovery is learning how to have fun again in coffee houses, And what we do in the coffee houses, we have it's basically a talent show, and so, but it could be singing, whatever you want to bring, sing, comedy, dancing. If you want to, maybe recite some prose or a poem or whatever it is. But the idea is to raise self-esteem and have fun. The annual retreat, we give an annual retreat, and we've been giving that in Damascus before the pandemic, pre-pandemic, where we have basketball, volleyball outside at it's like a camp area, and we also have spades tournaments and zip lining. There'll be a DJ there with plenty of food, so it'll be a lot of fun. But along with that, we also have holistic activities such as yoga, meditation, Reiki, and massage. A closing campfire meeting with a powerful story of recovery. They have a speaker there, and we have speakers during the day too as well. And we also highlight speakers from multiple pathways of recovery throughout the day, as I said. Last year, in place of the retreat, we gave a speakers jam with 13 speakers from 13 different pathways of recovery. Very powerful, and their videos can be found on our homepage, which is www.treeofhopeassn.com. So you can visit that and see some of the things we did there. We also gave a game day where people in recovery came and they played board games and played cards, ping pong, foosball, and other things. And we just had fun. Just had fun networking with others in recovery. We also gave an event where the Spanish community was involved, Dia de los Muertos, where we celebrated the lives of those we have lost. So we also participate in parades around the county too, whenever, like Rockville Parade and Silver Spring parades and so forth. So yes, this is some of the things we do for learning to socially integrate and have fun in recovery. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So next slide. Next, we're going to talk about pathways of recovery. But before we delve into multiple pathways of recovery, I think it's important to first point out that the multiple pathways to recovery. These are the things that you guys can do. These are critical points of contact that could make a difference of life or death for an individual. People who come in contact with people who struggle with addiction don't realize the unique position they have in introducing solutions at a critical point. Many times people in our community have already tried AA and NA and don't believe it'll work for them. Giving them alternatives can keep them engaged on a recovery pathway as they figure things out. Some of those points to recovery, those multiple pathways to recovery could be a treatment center, it could be family members, it could be friends, it could be hospitals, counselors and therapists, correctional systems. These are perfectly great opportunities or unique opportunities where you can actually give people more choices that maybe they can try something new that might work for them. Next slide.
Okay. Framework of recovery. Frameworks. These are the three basic frameworks of recovery: religious, spiritual, and secular. So religious pathways are usually based in 12 steps merged religious practice and literature. Okay. Spiritual pathways refer more to finding a higher power, something bigger than yourself, that helps guide you in your recovery. And then secular and rational recovery does not have any religious or spiritual aspect, self-directed, solution-based, or logical or scientific. Okay. Next slide.
Okay, one of the things that people don't talk about that much is natural recovery. Recovery happens naturally all the time. For many people with substance use disorders, remission and recovery is a process that happens naturally over time. In fact, such individuals may never have thought themselves as having an addiction at all, much less being in recovery, even though based on all medical classifications, they would have qualified as having an addiction to a substance. Why is this? No one knows for sure. It could be negative public attitudes associated with addiction is so strong that many people would never choose to voluntarily enter into treatment or engage with a mutual support group, and they're able to self-correct. It could be that some people are in denial about the extent of their problem and do not feel the need for support. Why don't we hear about natural recovery? Some people may stop using certain drugs, problem drugs, and continue to drink or use other substances recreationally, which may or may not be defined as problem use. It could be that the narrative for treatment and recovery is so pervasive that most attention is focused on the visible aspect of addiction recovery. And many who voluntarily stop on their own are forgotten. They're not counted. Next slide.
Celebrate Recovery. Celebrate Recovery is an example of a religious pathway, and is one of the 7 largest addiction recovery support groups or programs. This pathway is not focused on a particular addiction. It welcomes addiction in all its forms, whether it's drugs or gambling or anything else. They use the 12 steps with accompanying scriptures and the 8 principles based on the Beatitudes. There are now 35,000 Celebrate Recovery churches around the world, and their numbers continue to grow. As they understand how harmful stigma is to our society, their leaders seek to normalize substance abuse as similar to any other personal problems common to all people, like diabetes or heart disease.
Next slide. All right. The next category is 12-step groups, which most people have heard of. The 12-step groups fall into the spiritual category. I can't talk about one group without talking about all of them. 12-step programs are mutual aid organizations for the purpose of recovery from substance addictions, behavioral addictions, and compulsions. Developed in the 1930s, the first 12-step program, Alcoholics Anonymous, aided its members in overcoming alcoholism. Since that time, dozens of organizations have derived from AA's approach to address problems. These programs are very similar with few exceptions in some areas. Specific drug use 12-step programs only promote abstinence from that particular drug. So someone in Marijuana Anonymous might still drink socially and still consider themselves abstinent or successful. Narcotics Anonymous is inclusive of all drugs, including alcohol, and are required to be abstinent from all mood-altering chemicals in order to consider themselves successful, with the exception of prescribed medications and MAT, which could also be argued in some communities. Next slide.
Smart Recovery. This is an example of secular, which is based on rational thinking. And Smart Recovery is a science-based mutual self-help program for people seeking abstinence from drugs, alcohol, or non-substance addictions. It is designed to help people struggling with alcohol use disorders, drug use disorders, and compulsive gambling, sex, eating, shopping, and self-harm, and others. SMART is based on scientific principles and evolves as scientific understanding evolves. Many of the exercises are based on motivational interviewing techniques and cognitive behavioral therapy. There is no formal religious or spiritual component to Smart Recovery. though many group members will hold their own private beliefs. Many are agnostic or atheists. The SMART system teaches recovery tools for behavior change. In support meetings, you discuss and practice these tools and skills. Next slide, please. Next slide.
All right. Family recovery.
Mhm.
When a person struggles in recovery, everyone who loves them struggles in recovery. So it makes sense that there are recovery support groups for allies. Most of our local treatment centers provide recovery mutual aid groups for families and loved ones. You simply have to call your local treatment program and they can direct you to your local supports. Avery Road has been giving a concerned parents group for many years from 7 to 9. In response to the pandemic, they're now on Zoom. Most people are familiar with Al-Anon and Alateen, but there are many more support groups available. Adult Children of Alcoholics has a special focus on people who grew up in alcoholic families. Smart Recovery is a more rational approach for families and loved ones. You can view a lot of these pathways on our homepage from the people who participated in our speakers jam. So yeah, these are some examples of some of the family support groups or alternatives that people can use to find support for their loved one in recovery and find their own pathway of recovery. Next slide. STEER, stop, triage, engage, educate, and rehabilitate. That's what STEER stands for. Next slide. What is STEER? STEER is a 24-hour substance misuse support response team. The team consists of 4 certified peers and an admin who's Spanish speaking and a supervisor. We meet people at the time of crisis to tell their story, form connections, and help wherever we can. And they will follow, a peer will follow their client for 6 months to success, hopefully. I'm the supervisor for this team. Next slide. STEER is not engaged. Well, how does STEER receive a referral? STEER is not engaged by the general public. Hospitals trigger STEER by calling the crisis center, who then calls the peer on call. That peer then responds no matter what time of day to the hospital within the hour. EMS sends STEER emails that are triggered when Narcan are used on a subject. They are then assessed by the supervisor, and if eligible for our program, a peer is deployed. And the final way is previous clients. Anyone who's ever been a STEER client can always come back. They're always welcome back. And when I talked about being eligible for our program, the only things that would make a person not eligible for STEER if they are having unstable mental health crisis going on, or they're having really extensive health issues going on. And it really doesn't matter. It doesn't really mean that we can't help them. It just means we can't refer them to treatment because treatment programs aren't equipped to handle people who are in crisis. But if they choose to speak to the peer and talk to the peer and work and create goals for themselves, they are free to do so. We try not to turn anyone away. Next slide. All right, our peer protocol is that we are 24 hours. Our peers work 1 week on call for 24 hours. They work with the recoveries that they meet to put together wellness plans, and they set self-directed goals. We try not to tell people what to do. We try to find out what the people the recoveries need, and we try to help them get there. Peers make weekly contact to help initiate change talk and recovery support. During this pandemic, we've increased this contact to every 3 to 4 days, unless we're asked not to. Peers also introduce multiple pathways, and they help recoveries make the best choice. So we introduced CAA, MA, some of the pathways that aren't widely known. We try to give them their best fit. Peers also introduced needed resources for the recovery while teaching how to self-advocate and engage. As I said before, we follow people for about 6 months of engagement and wellness, and then the case is closed, hopefully successfully. If after 6 months that person is still struggling, we'll close the case and then we'll ask them if they want to self-refer, and we'll be willing to reopen it and follow them longer if they need the additional support. Next slide. How does it work? Okay, our peers meet with clients in hospitals in Montgomery County. Their main objective is to engage at whatever level the recovery is willing. They introduce themselves and use their lived experience to form connections. Find out what the patient's willing to do. If it's treatment, they complete a screening and work on getting them a referral. If it's finding a pathway, we educate them on the multiple pathways. If they just want to talk to a peer, they just need a listening ear, then they're engaged weekly or biweekly. In any case, the peer presents the wellness plan and helps that recovery participation is totally voluntary. We have a high rate of people who opt to stay engaged with the peer that aren't ready to go to treatment. Next slide. GMU has been following STEER for some years, and these are the numbers from 2019. One number that I think is important to look at is that opioid users are not our greatest demographic. Throughout the epidemic, alcohol remains our biggest referral from the ERs. Actually, 67% were were other drugs. 134 in the compliance. 134 people agreed to go to treatment. Out of those 67%, or 91, were still compliant after 30 days. Of those 91, 67 were compliant after 60 days. Our numbers have been very impressive to many in the community. The pilot program, like STEER, have been opening up in many communities, and it's been opening the eyes of many on how effective peer support can be. As a result, more jobs are opening up in treatment centers, government agencies, and shelter systems. We rely on proper training and continuing education. Locally, Tree of Hope has been taking the lead in providing needed training and supervision in Montgomery County. Next slide.
Okay, so studies have shown that the effectiveness of peer support interventions have a positive impact on clients. There are less hospitalizations and more people following up on their continued care, whether that means aftercare or engagement with their chosen recovery path.
Tree of Hope, STEER, and other programs like ours have made an impact in the state of Maryland. As a result, more organizations and agencies are hiring peers. Job boards are filling up with announcements.
Tree of Hope emerged because we didn't have training and opportunities in our area, but we used Baltimore as our template. They have amazing things going on, and their local government agencies have embraced and supported them. Montgomery County's government has shown support and has formed the Opioid Intervention Team, OIT, that is led by Dr. Raymond Kroll, Director of Montgomery County HHS. They have invited peers to the table because they understand the important role we play.
Tree of Hope has trained over 320 participants in the last year, even through COVID. We look forward to training more this year as we've adjusted to the pandemic through virtual trainings and providing the services needed to produce much needed peer support in our community. We're really grateful to be able to do this and to present Tree of Hope to the community and let you guys know that we're here. If you have anyone in your family who needs a peer or some additional supports, please feel free to reach out to us. But thank you for listening to us. And I don't know if Athena has any other questions, or are there any questions for us?
Latanya and Bunny, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight and for presenting all this wonderful work that you're doing. Just to underscore a comment by Bunny, peer services are proven to be highly effective in engaging folks in the conversation about recovery, which is so basic and so important. It's an ongoing effort. It's not a one-time thing. It takes time and energy and commitment, and being able to have trained peers who specialize in how to engage and how to share the story and how to guide folks through our system in Montgomery County and beyond on how to access treatment services, the kind of services that they're ready for, is very invaluable and has been a missing gap that you and Tree of Hope are filling. So we want to thank you for that and truly appreciate it. One of our comments that we got is a kudos for the provider town hall and listserv. Our participant is commenting on how it's a stroke of innovation and adaptation to the hardships of COVID, and one that should last past this pandemic. I second that.
I think it will.
And I think many of our listeners are hoping for that. It's creating a network of supports and providers that can be very helpful to families and individuals when they feel desperate.
Yes.
So
if anyone wants to be added to that town hall, they can send me an email at admin@treeofhopeassn.com, and we can add you to the town hall meeting.
we will post that on the Q&A. We will publish that so that it's easy to access.
Thank you.
One of the questions that we have is a question about how to work with folks in recovery that have disabilities. I'm assuming our listener is talking about physical disabilities, but if it's more than that, I welcome our listener to clarify. But do you have a comment on that?
The people that we work with that might have even physical disabilities, there's so many programs in this area. One of the things that I learned as a result of the town hall is there are so many programs that no one knew about. And there are programs to help people with disabilities. There's day centers where people can just drop in, like Affiliated Sante, that's a mental health program where that people can go during the day and have a place to be to get programming and help. I'm not exactly sure what types of disabilities they're referring to, but Montgomery County is a wealth of these grassroots programs that would help in any circumstance.
Okay. Yes, if we have a more specific clarified question, we may be able to assist more on that. We have a very diverse system of resources here in Montgomery County that sometimes may be obscure and difficult to access. So we're hoping through this event to start providing more direct access to the services that already exist. And so if our listener can clarify and needs more information, please let us know and we will follow up with answers. Also, Latonya, do you mind repeating the way to access the provider town hall.
Yes.
We will publish it. We will publish it on the Q&A side.
All right. If anyone would like to join us on our town hall meeting, they can send an email to admin, ADMIN, at Tree of Hope, ASSN, short for association.com. It's actually on this sheet right here. It's showing now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the website. But the
No,
email.
the email's right
Oh,
here.
yeah, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyone can send and just inquire about the town hall, and we can add you to the mailing. And also information about the town hall, the Zoom link and the password are on our homepage of our website as well.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much. I want to welcome any more questions. We don't have any current questions that I see. Let me check again. A lot of thank you and kudos messages to you. I need to pass them along. I'm very appreciative of that. I want to address our listeners. If you do have topics that you would like us to consider for future presentations, please feel free to post that and let us know. We are scheduling these topics every other week, and we will be providing resources and experts from the field, moderated. These are open to the public, and you're welcome to join us anytime or see those presentations recorded after the fact.
There's something else that I wanted to add about STEER, if I could, Athena.
Sure.
And one of the things that I didn't mention is that to all the overdose calls that we get in, those people are provided with Narcan and opioid strips. For the people who present at the hospital who are homeless and don't have a telephone, or maybe the police have taken their telephones, we've been providing burner phones that they have about 30 days worth of minutes on them, so we can keep them engaged at least long enough to get them into treatment. And we also give out bus passes to our recoveries who are engaged in outpatient treatment or have other important appointments that they need to make. We can also provide bus passes for them as well.
Thank you so much. Our next presentation is on January 27th at 6 p.m. I hope you all can join us for that, and I want to thank everyone for participating tonight. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Concept that they aren't aware of. First of all, I think everyone should reach out to parents, grandparents, neighbors. This is a critical issue. How do you get food